Hello students, today in last class we have seen about what is matter, properties of particles of matter, then properties of solids, properties of liquids and properties of gas and examples of solid, liquid and gas and how particles are how particles are maintained in solid, liquid and gas. We have seen about those all. Today in this class we'll see about the changes of states, how the states changes. That means so how solid changes to liquid, liquid changes to gas, or solid changes to gas, or gas changes to solid. Interconversion of the states. So the states of a matter can be changed by applying the temperature or pressure. See, what are the states of matter? Solid, liquid and gas. These are the three important states of matter. They can be changed into solid and solid can be changed into gas. Okay, and even liquid can be changed into solid and gas can be changed into solid. Gas can be changed into liquid. Okay, so these are the ways. So we can see six ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the six ways that can happen. Okay. So there are two ways of doing that. So by applying temperature and by applying pressure. By applying temperature and by applying pressure. By applying temperature and by applying pressure. So this is chapter matter in our surroundings. This is your first chapter, matter in our surroundings. Okay, class 9. This is for our class 9. Okay, matter in our surroundings, first chapter. So by applying temperature, we can change the state of matter, or you can change the state of matter by applying pressure. So today in this class, we see about how by applying temperature, we can change the state of a matter. By how it happens. See, suppose if you take, let me take ice in a beaker and start heating it. Temperature means what? We have to give heat to the ice. I have taken in beaker, if I take some ice, so ice again, right? Consider this as ice. Okay. So if I start heating it, let me say anything, we can say heating. Okay, if I start heating it, okay, if I start heating this ice, what this ice will become? It starts melting, isn't it? If I given heat to the ice, if I give heat to the ice, what will happen? Let us consider a general consideration. So if you have taken a beaker and you have taken ice in it, okay, if you start heating it, what will happen? The temperature of ice increases. That means the particles in ice gets kinetic energy. Okay, so they start moving out of the ice. That means the ice started converting into water. So usually ice is at -4 degrees Celsius, or you can say -4 to 0 degrees Celsius, you can say. So after that we are giving it temperature. That means it is becoming water. It is becoming water, okay, at 0 degrees Celsius. It is becoming water at 0 degrees Celsius. So initially you give temperature to the ice. Suppose if I take ice and if you are applying the temperature to it, you are increasing temperature. Okay, suppose if I say heating it, if I heat it, okay, if I heat it, what will become? Ice will become water. Ice will get converted into water, right? Ice will get converted into water. This conversion of ice to water, or you can say solid state to liquid state, is called what? Melting. Okay, is called what? Melting. So here ice is melting to form water. So conversion of ice to water is called melting, or another way we can call it as fusion. Proper name is called fusion. So question might be asked to you in your exam. Define fusion. The conversion of solid state. So ice means what it is? Solid state. Conversion of solid state to liquid state. The conversion of matter from solid state to liquid state is called fusion. This should be, you should know this. The conversion of solid state to liquid state is called fusion by applying temperature or pressure, whatever it is. Okay. So here we are applying temperature, and due to that ice melts and it become water. That means solid will become liquid. So this conversion of solid to liquid is called as fusion. Okay, I hope you understood. What is fusion? Tell me, what is fusion? You have to tell there only. So what is fusion is the conversion of solid state into liquid state is called as fusion. The conversion of matter from solid state to liquid state is called as fusion. Okay. See, when you heat ice, it become water. Okay. When you heat ice, it become water. But now if you heat water, it will become vapor. That means gaseous state. So water will become water vapor. Water vapor. That we call it as gaseous state. See here, the important thing one you have to remember, when the ice is converting to water, there the temperature remains constant. So whatever the temperature we are giving to ice remains constant, and where that heat energy goes, we are giving temperature means we are giving the heat energy, right? But at the time of conversion, the temperature remains constant. Then whatever the temperature we are giving, where it is going, it is being used from the conversion of solid state to liquid state. It is being used from the conversion of solid state to liquid state. That we call it as latent heat. What we call it, this is very much important. You should remember this word, latent heat. So this process is what? Fusion. So let me say it as latent heat of fusion. What is the meaning of the word latent? Latent means hidden. Okay, it is hidden. The heat energy is hidden here. So whatever the temperature you are giving to ice, okay, has been used to convert the change of state, that is from ice to water. There is no increase in the temperature of ice. So temperature is not increasing even though you are giving the heat. So the heat you are giving is used to change the state of matter. That means it is in hidden form. So that we call it as latent heat of fusion. So what is latent heat of fusion? The amount of heat energy, latent heat of fusion is nothing but the amount of heat energy. It is heat energy. The amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid. We have to convert here 1 kg of solid to liquid state. 1 kg of solid to liquid state at its. So here what happening? Ice is converted into water, means its melting is happening here. So at its melting point. So I will say what is melting point and boiling point later. So first you remember this, the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid to liquid state at its melting point is called latent heat of fusion. So latent heat of fusion is, okay, latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid to liquid state or into liquid state. So this is my important definition. You have to remember. This is my important definition. You have to write down it. You have to write down it 3 times. You have to read it. You have to perfect it. This is very much important question. Define latent heat of fusion. This question will be asked in your exams and it has already been asked many times. In multiple choice also it could be asked. So you have to remember, we have to consider 1 kg. Why we have to consider 1 kg? Because it is 1 unit mass. The SI unit of mass is kg. Okay. So 1 unit mass means 1 kg. Okay. So we are considering 1 unit mass always. So latent heat of fusion. Latent means it is hidden. That heat is hidden. We cannot see that heat because there is no increase in the temperature. If there is increase in the temperature, we can say that the heat energy is using here. So there is increase in temperature. It is not hidden. But here the solid state is converted to liquid state. For that purpose, heat energy is used. So that means it is hidden. So latent heat of fusion. It is happening at fusion process. So that is why latent heat of fusion. Hidden it is and it is the heat energy. So latent heat of fusion. So latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat energy. It is the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid. It is 1 kg of solid into liquid state or to liquid state at its melting point. This is very much important. If you don't write it, you will not get the marks. At its melting point. It should be at its melting point. Okay. Required to convert 1 kg of solid into liquid state, or you can say only liquid state. To liquid state or into liquid state at its melting point is called as latent heat of fusion. So can you tell me once again what is latent heat of fusion? Latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid into liquid state at its melting point is called as latent heat of fusion. You should remember these things. So latent heat of fusion. This is very much important. So what we learn? 2 definitions we learn. What is fusion and what is latent heat of fusion? So what is fusion? The conversion of matter from solid state to liquid state. is called as fusion, whether by applying temperature or by applying pressure. It does not depend. Even though you apply pressure, even applying pressure, if you are changing, that is also fusion only. Okay, but here we are learning about only temperature, so let us stick to that. So the conversion of state from solid state to liquid state is called as fusion. Okay, and what is latent heat of fusion? So you understood what is latent heat of fusion. So even though we are giving the temperature and the ice starts melting, there is no increase in temperature. So whatever the temperature or heat energy we are giving to the ice, that is all used for the conversion of solid state to liquid state. So this we call it as latent heat of fusion. So considering 1 kg of solid, okay, we can consider it as latent heat of fusion. So that is the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid to its liquid state at its melting point is called as latent heat of fusion. So I hope you understood this concept. Now what happens? Now we came to water. So in water, we are giving the heat energy to water. That is, the temperature of water starts increasing when once complete melting is finished. That means once ice is completely get converted into water, okay, then there is no conversion. Whole ice is converted into water means then there is no conversion. Now again temperature starts increasing after we are giving the heat. Okay. Now at one point of time, let me say 100 degrees Celsius, water starts converting into water vapor. You might have seen in your home when the water is kept at when the water is taken in vessel and it kept for when it kept for heating, and after certain temperature it starts boiling. Okay, so for 100 degrees Celsius water starts boiling and it is converted into gaseous state. That means it gets converted into water vapor. Okay, it gets converted into water vapor. So water vapor means what? It is in gaseous state. So conversion is happening from water to water vapor means liquid state to a gaseous state. So that we call it as, what it is called is evaporation. What we call this as vaporization, or another word is evaporation, or let me say this as vaporization. Both are same, vaporization or evaporation. What is a vaporization? The conversion of water molecules, to water vapor. Instead of that, we can say the conversion of liquid state to gaseous state is called as vaporization. The conversion of liquid state to gaseous state is called as vaporization. Okay, here also one thing will come. When you give more amount, that means when you give heat, more amount of heat to water at 100 degrees Celsius, there will not be any increase in its temperature. Again, same thing. There will not be any increase in its temperature after 100 at 100 degrees Celsius at its boiling point. 0 degrees Celsius is its melting point. Okay, 0 degrees Celsius is its melting point, whereas 100 degrees Celsius is its boiling point. What is the boiling point of water? 100 degrees Celsius, or other words we can say it as 373 Kelvin. So I will tell you in the next class how to convert Kelvin to Celsius or Celsius to Kelvin. We'll see that in the next class. But here you remember, ice is at 0 degrees Celsius means it is 273 Kelvin. Okay. Or if you take precisely, it is 273.15 Kelvin you take. But even though if you write 273 Kelvin, acceptable. Okay, 373.15 or 373 Kelvin, that is acceptable. Here at water 100 degrees Celsius, we are giving the temperature. That temperature is used for conversion of liquid to gas. So that we call it as again latent heat. But the process is vaporization or evaporation. So here it is latent heat of fusion. Next we have latent heat of evaporation or latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of evaporation or vaporization. Okay, latent heat of vaporization. So what is latent heat of vaporization? What is latent heat of evaporation? Or what is latent heat of vaporization? Okay, water is get converted into vapors. So that is latent heat of vaporization. So how to define it? The conversion of the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of water to its gaseous state. 1 kg of liquid to its gaseous state is called as latent heat of vaporization. Remember these things. What is latent heat of vaporization? The amount of heat energy. Let me write it. Please note down this latent heat of fusion. So I will rub this. Latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization. What is this latent heat of vaporization? Is the amount of heat energy, required to convert 1 kg of liquid, 1 kg of liquid to its gaseous state, when it is happening at its boiling point. Gaseous state at its boiling point. It is happening at its boiling point. So, latent heat of vaporization is the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of liquid to its gaseous state at its boiling point. You should remember this, at its boiling point, at its melting point are compulsory. So, this is called what? Latent heat of vaporization. So when water reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it starts boiling. Means it has reached to its boiling point. Means whatever the temperature you are giving at that, whatever the heat you are giving at that temperature will remain constant. That means the whatever heat energy you are giving, that will be used for the conversion of liquid to gaseous state. So which is hidden. So we call it as latent. Latent means hidden. Latent heat of vaporization. So it is the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg 1 kg of liquid to its gaseous state at its boiling point. This we call it as latent heat of vaporization. This you should remember. So in this class you have to remember what is fusion, what is latent heat of fusion, then what is vaporization, what is latent heat of vaporization. Okay, and what are the melting point of water and boiling point of water? The melting point of water is 0 degrees Celsius, the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius if you say it in degrees Celsius. And what is the melting point of water in Kelvin? The melting point of water in Kelvin is 273.15 Kelvin or 273 Kelvin, and the boiling point of water is 373 Kelvin or 373.15 Kelvin. You should remember these things. Okay. So what is fusion? Fusion is nothing but conversion of the matter from solid state to liquid state. It's called fusion. No doubts, I hope. So fusion is over. Then what is vaporization? The conversion of liquid state. Water means liquid state. The conversion of liquid state to gaseous state is called as vaporization. The conversion of matter from liquid state to gaseous state is called as vaporization. So two things will come, that is latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization. Okay, and you should remember this last line is very much important, at its boiling point or at its melting point. So what is latent heat of fusion? Fusion, the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of solid 1 kg of solid to liquid state at its melting point. It happens at melting point. At its melting point is called as latent heat of fusion. Now latent heat of vaporization, the amount of heat energy required to convert 1 kg of liquid to its gaseous state at its boiling point is called as latent heat of vaporization. Okay, these things you should remember. Melting point of water is 0 degree Celsius or 273 Kelvin. Boiling point of water is 100 degree Celsius or 373 Kelvin. So I hope you all are clear with these concepts. So next class we will see about the conversion of water vapor to ice, or if you can say gaseous state to solid state, what it is being called, and interconversion. Water to ice, water vapor to water, then gas to liquid. Okay, that the remaining conversions we have seen only 2 conversions now. Still 4 conversions are left. We will see those 4 conversions in the next class. So please note down all these things and be perfect with the definitions: fusion, vaporization or evaporation, or you can say vaporization, latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, meaning of latent in the 1 mark question what they may ask, what is the meaning of latent? Meaning of latent is hidden. Okay, and please be perfect with all these definitions. So we'll see the remaining things in the next class. Thank you.